How's it going, guys? I'm Josh, and today I'm going to do another how I shot this photo. We are in the Dolomites in northern Italy, and lighting is incredible right now, and I'm tripping over myself. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to shoot photos in this sort of lighting, and how to get just a nice shot in general. So right now I've got my wide angle on. We're by this amazing structure right here called Cinque Torri. Am I saying that right, Jakob?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And it's just these 5 interestingly shaped rock structures, all aligned, and it's lovely. So I've got this wide angle on. It's a 10 to 24 millimeter, which lets me get super close up and be able to fit a lot in frame, which is great because you have the smoke on the mountain over here. You've got all these rock structures. You've got a lot going on, pretty much 360 degrees. So as far as settings go, I like to figure them out by first opening them up in live view so you can actually see how the lighting works. Now, one thing to bear in mind is live view is sort of just a digitized version, and sometimes it's actually reading the image wrong. So it's always good to take test shots just to make sure, especially when you have so much white, it can actually throw off the sensors and make it seem like it's much lighter or much darker. So take test shots, especially in this strange lighting. But anyway, right now we're gonna shoot around f8. I'm gonna keep my ISO really low, right around 200. And the reason why I want to have f8 is because it's a nice medium aperture where I can get a lot of stuff sharp and in focus. It's a great aperture all around and just gives me a lot of options. And then for shutter speed, you really just want to make sure you're about over 120. However, you have all this snow. So having a faster shutter speed potentially could help you get a little bit of snow in the shot. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any snow, but we'll try. So anyway, I'm sort of just going to run around and see if I can get a nice angle of this guy. I actually already got one shot that turned out okay. And now it's just a matter of finding the nice framing to pick certain elements and have them together in a shot. So for example, if I want to get this incredible pointy one over here, which is my favorite of the 5, along with this smoke, I'd want to position myself somewhere over here just to be centered up. So let's go ahead and do that. Walk over here. Hopefully I have one of those steps where I just like drop 3 feet. Keeps happening over here. Okay. So another great thing about the wide angle is it really emphasizes everything. And when you get really close up, basically now you have this nice V curve, and it's gonna look even crazier now with the wide angle. So I'm gonna get really low to make it even more dramatic and see what we can get over here. Okay. And another nice perk of the wide angle is you don't have to worry too much about focus. I have it right almost at infinite focus. And let's see what we got. I'm gonna darken it up a little bit. So now we're shooting at f8, 1/500th of a second, and ISO 200. Oh yeah, and we got a fogged up screen a little bit, but I think we're coming out with something. And what's nice about this is here. So this is originally, and then I darkened it a little bit. And I'm actually gonna try one more even darker one, because with this, you can sort of see that the mountains are blown out a little bit. And if I go darker, this might be a little bit too dark, but I can bring that up in Photoshop and Lightroom. What I can't do is have an overexposed shot get darker. So you don't wanna have anything be too white. Better to be a little bit too dark and balance it out later. So I'm gonna bring shutter speed to 1/640th. Yeah, that's really nice. A few more things to go over. I have my white balance set on cloudy, or just a nice medium, but I'm shooting raw, which basically means I don't have to worry about my white balance. I can fix all of that very easily in Lightroom. So honestly, I could leave it on auto, as I sometimes do, and fix all of that later. And then also, yeah, always be sure to shoot raw. The only reason why I sometimes would adjust the white balance is just so you get a feel for how it's gonna look. Because even if I were to shoot it in the craziest, make this look super blue in cool tones, like, it's fine, I can fix it, but shooting in a similar white balance to what it's gonna look like in the end result helps you sort of know what you're gonna get. So I'm gonna try taking a few more shots, just get it a little bit further back and see if I can actually get this guy over here. It's very hard to choose what to shoot when you have so much going on. Give this one more try. If you have your camera very low to the ground and you have an interesting ground, it just gives it a little more texture in the image. So sometimes I just like to get live view going and get all the way down here. Hey, Colin.
Yo.
Could you turn around for me and just look at the camera? Super dramatic. Thanks, man. All right, and last thing we're gonna do now is we're gonna shoot a panorama, just because if you're an indecisive photographer and you've got a lot going on, you can get everything in one shot. So for this, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. I'm gonna go to, say, I told you it would happen. I'm gonna go to about 17 millimeters, so it's a little more zoomed in. Not crazy, it's still pretty wide. And I'm just gonna stick to being vertical and slowly work my way around. And I have a whole tutorial on panoramas, so I'm just gonna knock this out really quick. 50% overlap in every shot. And Jaco, would you do me a favor and take a few steps back so I don't have you in it? All right, so I'm just gonna fire it off really quick. And the one thing to note that I'm doing here is I'm overlapping each image by 50%. And I'm shooting a little more each direction than I'd want to, just to be safe. Pop autofocus on. As far as editing goes, I edited these exclusively in Lightroom, and if you don't have Lightroom, I'll put a link down below to download it and get a free trial for 30 days. And basically a couple tips I have for you. So first of all, when you're working with any landscape photographs, you want to mess with shadows and highlights because it can bring out and hide a lot of stuff, and it's always good just to experiment. Second, always clarity can be super, super helpful. And third, you're gonna wanna mess with the luminance and the saturation of the blues and the aquas in the HSL tab. And what that'll do is it'll make your blue skies much bluer, or your gray skies a little bit blue, and give you a lot of possible color options. It's a great alternative to just bumping your saturation bar way up and making the whole photo look super colorful and looking like it was edited by a 14-year-old boy with no subtlety. Just the blues, the best way to do it. And fourth, the one other thing I did is I made the temperature far more blue in most of these photos because I really like the cool tone feel, and it just worked well with the snow because it was so cold. It felt how it looked. And finally, one other thing I want to add, if you want to look more into all of the photo equipment I use, I have a website called joshkatz.me, and it has all of my camera equipment reviewed on it, so you can get full detailed descriptions on what I use and why I like it and don't like it. And also you'll see I have prints for sale of some of my best shots, and I actually just framed a couple this week for my dad. So I'll show you a couple really quick. We've got this bad boy. Big fan of this one from Italy. They don't come with frames, but you can get them for super cheap at Michael's or Amazon for 20 bucks and have a beautifully decorated, tasteful room. Like, not one of a 14-year-old boy. Which is basically what we're in right now. There's a skate wall. We got a dream catcher slightly out of shot. I've got nothing to hide. If you want to check out my camera setup and my prints, link to my website right over here. And let's wrap this video up. And that's about it. I think we probably got some sort of good image out of this session. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more of these, let me know, because this is sort of a new experiment. Hopefully I get a shot that turned out good. And Jaco, thank you so much for filming.
My pleasure.
Jaco has got a great adventurous Instagram, by the way. We're gonna give it a little shout out. I've also got an Instagram, links down below and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you eventually. Gotta focus on the mountains now.